Alright, in this video we'll see how to create a plugin that will clone the page in WordPress. Now you see this is the dashboard where you'll see all the list of pages. As you hover on the page name, you'll see an option called UI Monk clone this page. So actually this is nothing but a button that will clone this particular page. So if I click on this, you'll see another page that will clone the existing page, and as you can see, it's I'm just renaming it to 2 for your understanding that we have cloned this. And click on publish. Now you should see another page called 2. So our plugin has worked successfully. Now let's see how to create this. So what we need to do is we need to show up our plugin on this page. So let me activate the old one so that it doesn't get collide with our current function. Now you need to get into the folder where your plugin is and create a folder called clone. So this is going to be the name of the plugin, and let me open this in Visual Studio Code. Click on open, file, open folder, and in the plugin folder we have clone. As of now it has nothing, so we create a new file, and that file will simply have the name similar to the folder name. So let's say clone.php. Now we need to configure the information of the plugin. For that we need the comment block. The comment will give simply the name of the plugin, UI Monk page clone, and the description about the plugin, and the version of the plugin, and the author name of the plugin. Now this is the minimum requirement to show your plugin in this particular page, and we have named it as clone. You can see, let's just name it clone. As you refresh, it would get updated, and if you click on activate, once I activate, what I need is, let me just activate it. Let's just go into the page. Once I activate it, what I need is, I want to show a button as I hover on each page. So there is a hook called page row action, and this is a relevant function that would get called, and this is the priority. I'm giving the least priority for this function to execute. The least number is 10, and this function will accept 2 argument. That's why I'm passing 2. So let's just define. So now what we need to do is, this will have an action hook, action parameter. I'll let you know what it is, and the post type and the current post. Now what we need to do is, we need to create a button. So to create a button, what you need, we need an anchor tag and the URL and the text. So let's create the URL first so that we can have this in our button. Now in the URL you have to notice one thing. So here the URL is admin.php, and I'm passing the action. This action you have to note it, because we'll be creating this variable. Note this variable. We would be naming it as action hook, custom action hook. So we'll be creating a custom action hook called the URL param, and we are passing the current post ID. The button, if you click on this, this will have the post ID, this will have a post ID. So these post ID will be passed in the URL. Again I'm saying, we need an anchor tag, and in there we need a URL. So we'll pass this URL over here, and let's just call the text inside. So to call the text inside, this will have an associative array. Simply I'm going to name it as UI Monk clone, or just say duplicate as an array, and this is the relevant anchor tag as I said, and I'm passing the URL which I have created, and this is the text that would show up. I hope that's clear. Let me just comment this. Now we need to make sure only this happens on the post stage only it happens on the page, not on the post. So for that we can have a condition. Since we have the post option, if it is only post, then only execute this function. If the post type is page, then only execute this function. Now it won't work because it will give an error saying that we haven't defined the custom action hook. Let's define the custom action hook. So to create a custom action hook that we would be using it as URL parameter, we need to, this is the syntax for it. Whatever you write here, it would be the action. So now URL param is over here and we are passing the URL add action URL param. Now what should happen? We need to fetch the value called post ID from this function. Let's do that. Since we are passing it with get post method in form, if I click on submit, it would be post. Now since we can access directly the URL with get super global variable, so we have got the post ID. Whatever we have passed here, we'll be accessing it. Now with this post ID we can get the information of that post. So if I click on this, with it will give you a ID on the URL, and that ID will be accessing it with the custom action hook, and with that ID we can get information about the whole post. So let's fetch that. Now with this function get post, we can have access to all the information about the post. Now what we need to do is we need to assign another post. So now since we have access to the all the information of the post, now we need to create an array, and that array will assign the received post. So I'm getting the title with this post variable and appending it with the string called copy, and this is nothing but the post content, which is the text editor which you will see just below the title, and we are making the publish state for post status as draft, and this is the post type page, and with this we'll be getting the ID of the author. Now what we need to do is we need to insert the created page with the help of a function. Now with the help of wp insert post, we have successfully cloned the information of the post which we have created with the help of this button. Now this will hold the ID. Why the ID? Because as I click on the clone button, it need to get redirected to a edit post page. For that we need this ID. Now if you remember, if the post data are stored in two tables, the first one is wp underscore post and the second one is wp underscore post underscore meta. So to get all the meta details, we have simply used the get post meta, passing the post ID which we have received from the get parameter, the URL, and this will hold all the meta information. In short, it will hold all the information of wp underscore post underscore meta. Now what we need to do is we need to again get all the values in the form of key and value pair, and we are writing it one more time because the single key can have multiple value. That's why we are writing loop inside loop, and then what we are doing is we are simply creating another post meta with the new ID that we just got while inserting our cloned post, and this is key, and we are making it unserializable array so that we can read it. Now once everything is fixed, we want to redirect the cloned post in the edit page. So for that what we can do is we need to redirect it. So now we have redirected it. Once the meta information is saved on the wp underscore post underscore meta, and a new post is saved in the wp underscore post. Now we would be redirecting ourselves on to the cloned page. So you can see that's why we are passing the new ID which we have stored the cloned data. And if you see, if I click on sample page, there seems to be an error. Argument 1 must be countable. The problem is we haven't returned the action. so that we could see the button over here. So if I click on sample page, clone, or there seems to be an error, and now you see I click on this button, what will happen is this ID will get stored on the URL, and that URL will access it in a function and clone these information like the post information and the post meta information, will store it into a new variable. Once that variable is set and the new post is saved to the database, will be redirected to the edit page. If I click again, you'll see if all the post and post meta will be cloned, and now you'll be redirected to the edit page. So I make this 2 and click on publish. You should see it's sample 2 and that's live. So that's all for today. Thank you so much for listening. Meet you in another plugin tutorial tomorrow.